Welcome back to ADHD Agents, everybody. I am Bill, and today I am super excited. We have a guest today that is my personal ADHD coach. To me, he needs no introduction, but you may not know him, so we're going to give him a little introduction here. He is the hero of hyperfocus. He is the emperor of executive dysfunction. He is the duke of dopamine, and he is the sultan of squirrel. His name is Ryan Mayer.
That's exactly how I dreamed it would be. Normally, my joke is, hey, that was great. It was exactly how I wrote it. But I can't take credit for that best intro I've ever received.
I tried. Well,
The Sultan
welcome,
of SWAT.
Ryan.
The Sultan of SWAT.
The Sultan of SWAT. The Sultan of Squirrel.
That was great. Bravo.
So welcome to the channel, Ryan. And everyone who doesn't know, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about who you are and why you're qualified to be here.
Hi, everyone. Longtime fan, first-time visitor. Just really glad to be here. And I've known Bill for quite some time, and I've heard a lot of great things about all of you. So I just wanted to come hang out. My name is Ryan Mayer. I live in tropical Cleveland, Ohio, and I am a certified ADHD coach. I found out about ADHD coaching back in 2018, and ever since then, I've known that this is my calling. So in 2020, I got certified as an ADHD coach and have been changing the lives of other people like me with ADHD ever since.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. Yeah, I started coaching with you back in like September,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. So going on a few months now. It's been fantastic. For those of you who have never done it or don't even know about it, you can reach out to Ryan. I'll put all his contact information at the end and down below for you. But I don't kind of want to focus too much on the coaching here. As you know, this is a channel for real estate agents mostly, but also just entrepreneurs, which you are. You went from the corporate world to starting your own business. As realtors, we're independent contractors. We have our own businesses. Now, with my brokerage, when I switched brokerages, I went to what's called a virtual brokerage. So we don't have offices all around to go to with people around to body double, to bounce ideas off of, to just kind of take our minds off of things for a few minutes. And I know you work from home as well. So I kind of want to get right out in front of this. How can people that either work from home or don't have an office, like what are your strategies to keep you going day to day when you just having an off day?
I'm so glad that this is a topic that we're talking about because I don't think it gets enough spotlight, really, because I think a lot of times when people hear about this hybrid work environment or remote opportunities to work, it seems great. Like, oh, wow, I'm going to lay around in my pajamas all day. That might seem really cool for like a day and a half. And I know Bill and I both have young kids. So I can promise you it is not all sunshine and rainbows when you work from home. So there are some really specific things that I do and that I recommend to my clients. And even if an entrepreneur doesn't officially have a diagnosis of ADHD, these are helpful strategies. Bill and I were talking just offline before the recording started about, I even have the challenge. What is that, a motorcycle?
Yeah, it is.
I was either a motorcycle or a rocket. I don't know.
Squirrel.
Right before we started recording, Bill and I were just talking about the challenge, like hashtag the struggle is real, because I knew I had a lot that I wanted to get done before Bill and I jumped onto the call today. But I'll be honest, I didn't get as much of it done as I wanted because I just didn't get started. So the key that I tell most people is make sure you have accountability structures in place. And so specifically, I leverage a virtual assistant. And so I have a morning, kind of like a morning huddle with my virtual assistant to talk about the game plan for the day, especially on the days where once I get the kids onto the bus, I know that it's completely up to me to get my day started. And if I don't have some sort of timeline where I have to be somewhere or a consequence, I'm just not going to do it. So I just know myself well enough that I won't. So we start our meetings and if she if my virtual assistant Nancy like gets on the call and I'm not there, she'll just start blowing up my phone and be like, "Where are you? Have you gotten ready? Did you eat? Did you take your medication? Do you have coffee ready?" Like she knows me well enough now to ask those questions. So getting a good, I would call it like an on ramp for yourself if you work from home. Like you want to be on the main highway going 80 miles an hour, but you have to be able to ramp up onto that. So for me, that involves like actually getting dressed into whatever your business clothes are, because there's something about wearing shoes and like putting your pants on. You don't have to do it in that order, but however you would
You
do
have
it.
pants on?
Oh, was this a,
Okay,
yeah,
continue.
okay. And just getting yourself in the mindset of like, hey, we're getting started with work. And so that's for me at least a great way to start the day. And I thought I'd kick it back to you to see how
Yeah.
that resonates with you.
No, I completely agree. So, kind of piggybacking off that. So you've got a dedicated space in your house that is your office, correct?
Yes, I do.
So I don't. So I do rent a space as an office,
Hmm.
and my wife has said like, why can't you just work from home? I was like, but it's that like getting dressed thing. It's that feeling of just going somewhere, whether it's a dedicated space in your house or if you rent a space down the street. Of I'm starting my day productive
Yes,
just by going to the office, wherever that may be. It could be down the hall, but it's also a place that I want to be able to shut that door when I don't need to look at it, or I need to shut that door to keep myself in. I need to
precisely.
either keep myself out or keep myself in. But it's just that feeling of productiveness of getting dressed and going somewhere, even if you have nothing to do that day, I'll
Yep.
find something to do once I get there. If I stay home, man, those video games are coming on. I'm gonna walk the dog. I'm gonna snack all day,
Hmm.
and that's it. Like I'm done.
I totally agree. And that's why I always think of like the proverbial, um, like Notre Dame football team where it says "play like a champion" today. Like they kind of slap that sign before they walk out of the tunnel and they're on the field. When I walk through the doorway into my office, it's kind of like that mindset of, okay, it's game time. Like now it's time to start getting in work mode.
Yeah. And another thing. So yesterday, um, there was no school, so my son was home, and it kind of threw a wrench in my day when he
Yeah.
decided that he wasn't going to go on this field trip that they were doing instead of school. He didn't want to go, and I was like, that's fine. I'm like, great. Like there goes my day. But what I've found is I usually have a list of like non-important things. So when a day like that comes up and I have to be there with him or my daughter, or I don't feel well,
Sure.
I have things I'm like, you know what? If I get this done, like if I get half of this done, it's a good day. But there's no definitive deadline on it. And it's just like, it's almost just busy work, but I still feel good that I got something done and I didn't waste a whole day.
I love that. And I do something similar. If I have a day where I know I will have some gaps in my day in between meetings, in between client calls, um, and Bill knows this because he's part of the one of the groups that I run, where we have a group text where all of us will text back and forth like, what are the top things that we're trying to get done today? And so whenever I have a gap in my schedule, I set those priorities in the morning with my virtual assistant and I just verify like, okay, here are my goals for the quarter. Well, I'll go, here are my goals for the year. Here are my goals for the quarter. And what am I trying to do this month to hit those quarterly goals? And many times I call it like the big three for the quarter and what are my most valuable priorities, my big three for that day. But to your point, Bill, if it's a day where I know that I'm barely going to have any daylight in between these calls, or if it's a day where I'm at home and it's the same thing with me since I do work from home. If I'm home with the kids, or it's a weekend and we just have some downtime and the kids are occupied, just having that list of things that you can go back to and having it in a specific place. And again, whether or not you officially have ADHD or you're just a busy professional, one of my recommendations would be keep that somewhere, whether it's a notebook or on your phone or in some sort of task manager, so that at any moment, if you get a few minutes, you're like, okay, I have a few minutes. I don't have anything scheduled, or maybe I'm waiting for someone. What could I do right now to feel like I'm getting something out of this time?
Mhm. And so, little segue here because you had mentioned you have a virtual assistant,
Hmm.
and being entrepreneurs and solo business people, we have to be everything at first, but then you get to delegate. So like one of my things that I'll do like in those downtimes or whatever is that'll be my business social media time.
Yes.
It's not super, it's important, but it's not like, oh, don't do all this other stuff because you have to go and like check on clients and comment on things and follow up through social media. That's what I do during those times. But then that brings into that whole VA thing and delegating because we that's part of marketing.
Hmm.
So when you first started, like how hard was it to delegate at first? For me, it was tough. It was very tough to kind of let go of control of things.
Hmm.
But luckily, I had a transaction coordinator who was very attuned to how I was. And I told her, I was like, I would need to ease into this. I'm probably going to be very hands on with everything that you're doing right off the bat. And I kind of slowly just backed away instead of just pulling the plug. So
Yep.
how did that look for you with your delegation and assistance?
Well, I'll first just start by saying to you, you're not alone in this because so many entrepreneurs, business leaders, CEOs that I work with, you've gotten to the top for a reason. You're a top performing agent or you're a top performing team member or what have you, whatever the person's case may be, for a reason. And it's hard to want to be able to let go because you're afraid like, all right, if I let this go, maybe it's not going to be as good and I won't be able to perform at that high level. Even though I don't know about you, Bill, but I have found out the more I let go, I'm able to go higher and farther. I
Mhm,
know there's a concept from the book Traction by Gino Wickman that I use all the time, and I tell my clients, let's delegate to elevate. Like we can work on higher value tasks if we delegate the things that typically we don't really enjoy doing.
mhm.
So for those of us whose brains are a little faster than normal, we
Good book.
we know that if it's an administrative task, it's probably going to be a little bit boring for us. So I literally made a list of here's all the things I don't enjoy doing. And then as soon as I could, I found other people whose minds were more geared towards those kind of tasks, as twisted as that seemed to me.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, another thing I recently saw this in like a Gary Vee speech or whatever, and he said, we're so quick to hire, but we need to be quicker to fire.
Yep.
And I thought about that, and I thought about, like, what had happened to me with my transaction coordinator. So I had this first girl who was fantastic. Like, she was the lifeblood of my business, and then she
Yes.
got a different job, and they assigned me someone else who was horrible.
Oh,
Like, he was good. He was good at what he did, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but his style didn't fit my style.
Sure.
So it brought in a lot more work for me. So I had used a service that had the transaction coordinator. So I called the owner and I'm like, hey, I appreciate this. This isn't working out. Her first words were, thank you. I'm glad you said something and didn't just go with it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm actually not sure why he got assigned to you because I know he doesn't work like you. And so when you are delegating these things and you're bringing people on, like at first, give them a chance to do it.
Sure.
But if they don't work like you, if they don't mesh with you, if their style of even just like responding to emails doesn't fit with your brand, if they don't change, don't be afraid to find somebody else. they'll
Bingo.
find another job.
Yes.
You're not going to put them out on the streets. They will find another job. Don't be mean about it. But, I'm nice. So I have a chance to, hey, I'm not a big fan of this. If they can change and they can work through it, great. If not, I think it's time to move on.
Yeah. And I totally agree. It's really hard when we actually enjoy and want to be nice to other human beings. Because some people are just so cutthroat, they don't care. Uh, but another thing that I've tried to do too is if there's someone on my team who, like, I'm thinking of one person who I had in one role and they expressed to me that they weren't as interested in doing those things. So we looked over, all right, well, what are some of the other options you might be able to do that would be more fulfilling to you and still helpful to me? So we were able to just sort of slide them over as a lateral move into a different area, and it still she was able to stay on the team, which was great. So
Yeah.
that's another thing to consider too. Is maybe it's to use the idea of good to great um, by Jim Collins, I think is who wrote that one. Is that maybe it's the right person's on the bus? To Gary V's point, um, you have the right person, but instead of booting them off the bus, you just move them to a different seat.
Ooh, I like that. Just move them around. Maybe
And
they're a driver. Maybe they're a passenger.
exactly.
Maybe
And
they're the
sometimes,
mechanic that keeps the bus running.
ooh, well, I'll use that segue to say my virtual bookkeeper is
Mhm.
pretty much like the mechanic because if I did, much like your previous transaction coordinator, I can say that if I didn't have my virtual bookkeeper, my my business bus probably would have broken down a while ago. So she is so helpful when I have certain questions where I jokingly say that my ADHD brain has a severe allergy to numbers. So I just go right to her and she's very quick to respond. So that helps me out a ton.
I think a lot of us do when it comes to that.
Yeah.
That's one of those boring tasks that we're like, I have to do this, but I'm probably not going to.
Yeah.
I think
At
that's
least
kind of
not.
something that we need
Yeah.
to realize.
Yep.
Whenever you say, I mean, there have been times where I'm like, God, I'm probably not going to do this. And that's when I'm like, okay, I need help in this.
Well, it's a concept that you may remember we talked about sort of early on in our coaching journey together, but I call it TUA or total unconditional acceptance. Just having that honesty, like it sounds like you do, and I bet a lot of your viewers and listeners do, is just knowing yourself well enough to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Because I think when I first started off as an entrepreneur, I did try to do everything, and that's just a recipe for burnout. So instead, I just know what I'm not going to do. And the
Mhm.
very first one was getting a bookkeeper because it was like at the end of the month, I knew I was going to have to account for w- did we break even? Did we make money? And like my family was depending on me. So I don't want that to be, it was a super stressful time at the end of every month. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. And that thing called taxes. Jim
Oh,
struggled
God.
with
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, I got to do that. Oh, maybe I'll just file an extension.
Well, and that's a perfect example of when I tell my bookkeeper, because she also does our taxes for us, I just shower her with praise during that time because I'm like, I can't tell you how much this means to me. Because we used to file, my wife and I would file my business taxes on our own. And it's amazing to me for as energetic of people as we are, whenever I hit a task that's not something I enjoy, I call it the attention battery, where your energy just
Mhm.
goes down so fast.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Fun times.
Well, like the learning for me that I want to make sure people hear this is there's only so much time in a day, obviously. And whenever we say yes to something, that means you're saying no to everything else for that moment. So if you continue to say yes to the things that you're not good at, they drain your energy and they take you away from the stuff that does make you money.
Mhm.
It's probably not the best way to utilize your time. because I think a lot of us, we don't want to let go of control. But I've realized now that I've been doing it 3.5 years, sometimes the more I let go, the more I'm able to do. Like freeing up time to be on the show with you today. Like if I didn't have other people doing things for me, I probably wouldn't be able to.
And we would be very sad.
Yes, we would.
So along that saying no thing, now I'm going to preface this with there is going to be a series of videos coming out about this topic. Ryan and I were actually just talking about it. For a lot of us aren't solo agents here. We might be on a team.
Right.
So we've got a team lead who's kind of helping guide us. We don't have to do everything on our own. Or the videos are actually going to be geared towards those team leads on how they can best help us. But one of my points, and I'm only bringing up because of you said that the saying no.
Mhm.
If you're in that situation and you've got a team lead and they're just like, hey, here's like 10 things you need to do. Uh, I think the best thing that you could tell them, or in any industry, whether it's your boss, your
Yeah.
manager, or
Right.
whatever,
Yep.
you just say, hey, I need help saying no. Or with your virtual assistant, like if you start, like she's probably got access to your calendar.
Oh yeah.
And so if she sees things like going on your calendar that you put on there, she's probably going to be like, Ryan, you need to start saying no. And, I think if there's the biggest piece of advice for that is have someone, even if you just have an assistant who helps you say no, you will do more by taking on less.
Yeah, it's almost like having someone who is a bouncer or like a gatekeeper to your time, because
Mhm.
we just want to party with anybody, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like, let everybody in. The more tasks, the merrier. No, no, don't do that.
Yeah. And
And
also,
go ahead.
oh, go on. No, you go. You're on a
Well,
roll.
when you mentioned, when if your team lead, your boss, your manager comes to you with that list of 10 things, what kind of pops up for me is asking that person, hey, out of these 10 things, I think that numbers 5, 7, and 10 are probably most important based on what I know. What do you think, boss? Like, and they might say, oh, no, no, no. Like, I put these in prioritized order. I want you to do 1, 2, and 3 first. Just having that conversation, because for any folks out there with ADHD, you'll know, like, to us, everything on that list is top priority. It's like a flat line as opposed to a vertical list. So getting some help on prioritizing what to work on, it can also be helpful.
Yeah. It's a great, great idea there. And then I want to get into, so when people are on a team or they are in an office, because you did corporate
Hmm.
America before
Hmm.
this, I've been in brokerages where I went to an office. Um, there's just a whole slew of new distractions when you're there. And I know a lot of people be like, I had this tiny office. It was like this wide and like
Yes.
6 feet long. It was like a closet. I had so much shit in there. But it was like this little closet. And I would go in and everyone would keep their doors open and I would shut mine.
Yep.
And they're like, why are you locking yourself in the office? It's like, because I can't talk to you today. So what were your strategies when you were in that environment, besides just locking yourself in a closet, to make sure that you weren't, because we generally want to help people. Like, I think it's that big joke. Like, if you need to get your laundry done, like, invite over your ADHD friend who has a term paper due the next day, and they'll
Yes.
clean your whole
Yes.
house.
Yeah.
Um, like, if I know I have to do something, when someone's like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Like, I'm over there in a heartbeat. So I
Yep.
had to get rid of that. So what advice would you give to people in that situation where there's too many people and friends and distractions around?
Yep. Couple of things. One, pack your lunch. I in corporate, what I found is I was susceptible to, if I didn't pack my lunch, everyone was always ready to go out to lunch. And I knew that that was never just going to be a quick thing, because people, you have to go, you're going to sit at the restaurant, you're going to chit chat, you're going to hang a little longer. Do we really need to be back? Oh, I don't want to go to that meeting. But if you pack your lunch, you're like, no, I'm good. Actually, packed my lunch here. I got leftovers. They leave. and then you can just eat your lunch and then get back to work pretty quickly. So that's a small tip. Another
Mhm.
is noise canceling headphones. So I unfortunately didn't really have an office in a lot of the settings I was in, but most people understand that if you're there we go. That if you're wearing noise canceling headphones like the ones that Bill just held up, they realize like, okay, this person's trying to work. Oh. Um, and so if because they're gonna feel they might take a second to think about, okay, they look like they're really in the zone right now. If they're wearing their headphones, I don't. Maybe I'll just come back later. Or you can. I used to do this. If they would come over, I would kind of make like a dramatic, like a big deal out of like taking off my headphones. I'd be like, "Hey, what's up? Like, I'm clearly busy. What do you want?" And the other one is, if you do have an office, you could put even like a little sticky note on there, or even a sign. If you don't want to say like, keep out, maybe you could just say, available to socialize starting at 10:30, or whatever, something funny if you want, but just letting people know like, hey, I have to have some focus time.
Yeah. For me, when I had that office, it was, since I do a lot of video, as you can see,
Yeah.
um, I had a sign that I would put out that said, "Do not disturb recording videos."
Yes,
Even if
recording
I
in progress.
wasn't recording videos, like that was on there, and
Yes.
people knew, like, don't even knock on the door,
Yeah.
because even if I'm just in there and I'm in the zone, like, you're hyper focused. If the building isn't burning down, don't interrupt us, because once you derail us from that hyper focus,
Oh
that whatever we're working on will never get finished.
no.
And that's, those noise canceling headphones, like, people, I think, just innately realize, like, if you have those on, like, I have earbuds in, like, if you have earbuds in, they're going to bother you all day. But if you have these big headphones on,
Yes.
it's gonna be like, okay, is someone dying? Is the building burning down? Like, is it an emergency? Like, should we really interrupt Ryan right now? Because he's clearly got something else going on. And I think
Exactly.
it's just like, people don't think that way, but just like, I think it's just that natural reaction when someone has big headphones on, you're like, I probably shouldn't interrupt them.
Bingo.
You don't know what they're doing. They might not even be on.
Yeah. So you could just like you would put up the sign, recording videos. Maybe you're not even listening to anything. Just put on the big headphones and that's it.
Because there were times where, like, I'll have them on and, like, in that office, and, like, people would walk by and, like, I'd see them, like, out of the corner of my eye, look in, I'd look over, they'd be like, and they just keep walking, like,
And
"Oh,
you're
you're
like,
clearly busy." I'm like, "No, I'm listening to, like,
yeah,
Slayer right now, and just leave me alone." But they
yeah,
think you're, like, whatever you're doing, you're focused because you needed to tune everything else out.
exactly. I love that.
So, yeah. So I wanna end this with a couple just little questions for you, kinda off the cuff questions here.
Before we do the lightning round, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how excited I am that you are putting together resources for managers and team leaders and people who work with others who might have very busy brains like we do. I would just say keep in mind what value those people bring to your team and what they do best. And my strongest recommendation would be just have an open conversation. Sit down with that employee and say, "Hey, do you feel like you're getting to utilize your strengths? Like, are you using it every day? What can we do to get you more in the zone that you really enjoy?" And I'll just the results that are going to come from that, I think, are going to be really encouraging because I think people really appreciate that if a boss can just put that as a priority. And I just always wish that my supervisors would have done that because I asked, but it didn't always, they didn't always go along with that idea. So just asking them, what do you want to do better, or what do you do well, and how can we get you doing more of it? Because when it comes down to it, results get respect, and that's what we're all going for.
All right. We're gonna do a quick lightning round.
Ready?
End this. We're going to start deep. What's your current biggest struggle?
Balancing my current business model with my future business model. And I'll just share with everyone that it's working with individuals and group clients is my current, but here in 2024, I'm looking to get into corporate environments to help have these kind of conversations. So it's just balancing the time between those two.
Stole this one from your friend Jesse J. Anderson. What is your current shiny object?
Oh, it's not within reach. But my current shiny object, which Bill actually knows about because I sent a picture slash video of it out to the group, is I was working with my 6-year-old son on his Pinewood Derby car, which I, of course, ended up hyper focusing on more than him. But getting that project literally to the finish line because last year, like I've got
No
kind of
pun
a chip on my
intended.
shoulder. Yeah, like I have a chip on my shoulder because last year we didn't do so well. We had some axle problems, okay? And it didn't make it to the finish line. So this year I'm like, we're getting that Pinewood car across the line. So that's my current shiny thing.
What is your favorite app to help you with your ADHD or just life in general? And you can't say email or phone.
Oh, no.
Okay.
One that I actually really enjoy and I've recommended to our group before is one that's made by a friend of mine who actually is good friends with Jesse J. Anderson, named Marie. She's one of the founders of something called Llama Life. And Llama Life is a timer that you can plug tasks into, and you can also have templates. So, for example, coming from like the James Clear habit forming book, what is that one called? Atomic Habits.
Mhm.
He talks about like habit stacking and anchoring. So I have a morning habit stack that I do, and I'm able to have that as a template in Llama Life. So I know how long it would take me, and it helps to just keep me on track. So that's my favorite tech tool.
Nice. Non-tech favorite ADHD book. Yeah, pick one.
I know. I would
Desert
say
Island. Desert Island book.
the only reason I'm hesitating is because there's so many good ones, but I would say in a pinch, I would go with Driven to Distraction by Ned Hollowell because he's one of the OGs when it comes to ADHD. And a lot of people have like discovered they have ADHD by reading that book.
All right, now we're getting super deep real quick. Pizza or hamburgers?
I'm gonna go pizza
All right. Whiskey or
because
beer?
well, hold on. I'm gonna
Oh,
say pizza because you can share it easier.
ooh. Oh, you're so nice. Whiskey or beer?
Whiskey because you can savor it longer.
If only one of these could exist, which would it be? The Browns, the Guardians, or the Cavs? For those of you who don't know, Ryan's in Cleveland.
I'm gonna say the Cavs because I'm a basketball guy, so I enjoy seeing people that are extremely good at something that I try to be good at.
All right. And lastly, how can people get in touch with you?
Thank you for asking. So people can find me also on YouTube, ADHD Coach Ryan Mayer. Really trying to grow that in 2024. You can also go to my website, Ryan Mayer, Mayer, ryanmayercoaching.com. And on most of the social platforms, I am ADHD Coach Ryan. And one last thing I'll say, Bill, is if anyone who is out there listening is interested in having me come in to talk about how you can build a more neuro inclusive work environment and get the most out of your people, especially those with invisible disabilities, I would love to have a conversation with you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. Guys, I'm going to put all of the links to get in touch with Ryan down below in the description. If you have any trouble getting in touch with him, just get in touch with me. Or if you have any questions for him, I can relay that as well. As always, thanks so much for joining us. And Ryan, thank you so much. Everyone, we will see you on the next episode.